the Roots of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Today, we are on episode 53. Can you hear that? 53. I'm so excited. My guest today is Bonaventure Dossou, who is originally from Benin, but now currently based in Germany. In this episode, we learned that Bonaventure actually wanted to become a doctor. However, he is now into IT. He attributes his interest into science from his father, who's a mathematician and an architect. Bonaventure says that he got into IT because it allowed him to combine his love of mathematics and also gave him the liberty to be innovative. We learned that for undergrad, he went to study in Russia and went on to attain his BSc in mathematics there. We discuss about his experiences there as an international student and also as one of the only 2 Africans in his class. Upon completion of his BSc degree, Bonaventure moved to Germany, where he recently started his master's doing data engineering at Jacobs University, Bremen. Apart from his master's research, Bonaventure is working on an independent project called the FFR, which is the Fon-French Neural Machine Project. This project aims to create a robust machine translation system for the Fon language, which is his native language from Benin. We learn more about this work and the other various projects that have come from it and why it is so important that they're doing this. Lastly, we discuss his Guinness World Record win at the National Russian Hackathon. You gotta hear this very inspiring story about rising against the odds. Tune in to learn about all of this and so much more. Let's go. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you to have me here. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. So we're just going to get straight into it. Just as a brief introduction, can you please tell us a bit more about yourself? So where are you from originally, where you currently based, and what are you currently doing?
Okay, so my name is Bonaventure Dossou. I am 23 years old. I am original from Benin, which is a country of West Africa, and I'm currently based in Germany, Bremen, pursuing my master's degree in data engineering.
Okay, perfect. So before we get into everything that you're doing and your science, you have a very interesting name, Bonaventure. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Off air, you told me that it's got a really interesting meaning. So for us non-French speaking people, tell us, what does it mean?
Okay, so actually it's pronounced Bonaventure. People don't usually tend to say it well, so I just customize it as Bonaventure. But in fact, if we split it into 2, bon and aventure. Bon means actually good, and aventure means adventure. So putting them together, we have actually my name that means good adventures.
Oh, I love it. You know, in my language, in Chichewa from Malawi, we also say bo, which means are you good? Like, that's how we greet each other. So it's really interesting how all of these languages are kind of similar. And I know we're going to touch into languages later, so I don't even want to bring that up yet. But just speaking on your adventure, it's quite interesting that you were named direct translation in English, good adventure. You've had a really great adventure, which we're going to get into. So before we talk about this really good adventure that you have done, can you give me some feedback in terms of how did it all start? How did you get into science? Was it always something that you wanted to do? Or was it one of those things that just, happened and then you're like, oh, here I am?
Okay. Science was or is something I always wanted to do, but science is big, so I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. I remember back when I was a kid, I wanted to become a doctor, and I actually graduated from high school with a diploma of biology. but after somehow the road has changed, and then I'm now in computer science. So talking about some of the influences, I would say the major one was and is still my dad, because dad is an architect, he's a mathematician.
Wow.
So I love the way he used to think, the way he thinks, like the way he will brings problems down like one by one and find solutions. And it has always amazed me. And yeah, so I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be someone smart, intelligent like him. So yeah, I chose to take the road down to science.
Oh, that's fantastic that your dad was this big role model. You said that you wanted to be a doctor, and that didn't work out, So how did you then get into this field of IT? Can you just let us more about that detour in your adventure?
Okay. So after I knew that my dream of becoming a doctor couldn't be fulfilled, I strictly looked for something that will help me to be free and to innovate. Somehow back in the time, I started disliking biology or medicine because it was becoming more something that is already made. Like you have 7 years to study, and things you have to study is basically things that have already been done. You have books, you have to cram the knowledge and everything. And it became stressful and non-interesting for me. And I was looking for something that will give me that freedom to express myself. And I love mathematics. But then I don't want to start teaching mathematics. So I was like, okay, what would be the best field to apply mathematics in? And it turned out to be computer science. And yeah, also a nice experience was I got my first laptop when I was 6. I remember I was the best of my class, and my uncle traveled to the United States, and when he was coming back, he brought me a laptop. So that's how it started.
Oh, so the seed was planted very, very early without you actually even knowing it.
Yes.
Yeah, so shout out to your uncle, hey? Like, look at you now. You are this guy that you are in this IT field. Okay, so the journey of being in medicine didn't quite go so well. How did you proceed? Where did you study your undergrad? Because I know there's an interesting story there. So can you just tell us from there? Because you're now based in Germany, but it wasn't a straight road.
Okay. So I didn't really study IT in Benin. I remember when my dream of becoming a doctor or pursuing studies in the medical field fade away. I attended, I think, an institute of computer science, but then I did only 1 year over there, and it was most likely the basic knowledge of computer science, like how to work with matrices, how to write algorithms. So it was not something deep down, but I admit that it helped me a lot. So my undergraduate program, I did it in Russia, and it was in mathematics. So I have my bachelor in mathematics, and I would say IT has been something I always wanted. Actually, it's something I have passion for. So even though my studies were not allowing me to do this, I always found time to make sure that I'm doing things that will help me to improve daily my level. So after school, for instance, I used to go download books, read papers, take part into hackathons online, take part to petitions online. All those things actually don't have any link with what I'm studying and with university. So if I can say, I self-promoted myself in such a way. It was just a passion, actually.
Wow, that's great. Self-learning is actually very important, and getting involved in these type of projects, I'm sure, exposed you to a wider network, and it allowed you to see things on a better scale, I'm presuming, in terms of what's possible out there, right? Yeah, definitely. So, for you were in Russia for your undergrad, so you've traveled quite a bit. You see, your name does have your name has got a beautiful link. It's like it was predestined.
Yeah, if we can say so, yes.
Yeah. So you traveled to Russia, and then now you did your undergrad there, and now for your master's, you are currently at Jacobs University.
Yes.
Yeah, where you're doing your data engineering, and your work is on FFR, which is Fon-French Neural Machine Project. This project aims to create a robust machine translation system for the Fon language, which is your native language. Can you please tell us a bit more in terms of this project and your involvement in it?
Okay. So thank you for the question. I would like to highlight, so that it doesn't get like a confusion, that that project was or is a project, an independent project. Is not really something I'm doing for my master, because I've started already since I was back in Russia. And I started with my friend, my brother Chris, who is Nigerian. So, like you said, we want to promote African languages because they are really underrated. Africa has more than 2,000 languages, which represent around 31 or 33% of the languages spoken all around the world. But we don't have even 1% of research is done in natural language processing about those languages. Most researches are done about English, or maybe about Portuguese or French, those Western languages. So we wanted and we want to bring that change, to be able to create tools for people, for our people to be able to communicate freely. Because, like you mentioned, Fon is my native language, but I have another native language, which is Gun. I don't get to speak Gun very much, but let me say that actually Fon is my first native language. But I grew up in a city where Fon was widely spoken, and Fon is actually, if we take out French, which is the administrative language, Fon is the most spoken language of Benin. So Fon is mostly written. Is mostly spoken, and I used to speak French with my dad, but with my mom it was most likely like there was a kind of barrier, because she speaks exclusively Fon. She understands French, but every time she wants to talk to me, she speaks Fon. I understand, let me say, a little bit. I mean, back then, because actually now things have improved. And I could only reply in French. And when I came to Russia, then things got harder, because she used to send me only voice notes, because there were no keyboards.
Yeah.
So she couldn't write it down. So only audios, voice messages through WhatsApp. And then there were sometimes I was blue, and I had to ask for my sister to help me to find out what it means. And so I wanted to break that barrier, and I was like, okay, since I'm working in the field, so why not doing something that nobody has ever done yet? That's one of the major things. So the importance actually is now, first of all, it has improved the communication between. It really improved the way people see our languages, because today I know it's not only my effort, and I want to quickly thank people like Jade Abode, people like Julia Kruzer and the Masakane community, who really helped me and us to make this dream happen. and who are still mentoring us to improve this project. So with the keyboard we recently launched, for instance, people are already widely using it. Artists, singers who are singing usually in phone are already able to read transcript to write down the lyrics of their songs in phone. This is already creating more let me say more resources, more documentations. Today, if you go on the internet, like I was saying, is not surely only my effort, but if you tap phone, you are probably likely gonna have more information about it, like about Benin, about maybe you will find me if I'm lucky, and something like that. So it is really, really, really putting the language slowly but steadily forward. And this machine translation we are doing is just one project among others. After we are done with this, we want to move on to machine translation between African languages. And we start by Igbo, which is the native language of my brother, my co-worker, Chris.
Wow, project sounds absolutely fascinating, and congratulations on the work that you've done.
Thank you so much.
You're absolutely right. You touch on something really important, especially when you mentioned that your mom, the fact that, in African homes, most of us, we've got like a mom who speaks one native tongue and a dad who speaks another. And as a kid, you kind of start learning, you get caught in between, and you kind of start learning the one that's more predominant. I can also attest to that because I had my dad's native language from his side of the area in Malawi and my mom's. And because my dad one was more prevalent, I knew that one more, but it was that struggle of now I couldn't reply in my mom's native tongue. So I think this is it's so beautiful because it's an African problem and you are making solutions that are African centered. And you've started in Benin, and it's great that you have all of these artists who are benefiting from it. So how does it work? You said it's a keypad. Is it an app? How does it work?
Okay, so for now, we are working. Let me say it separately. Like, we have actually launched recently a keyboard that allows to write not only even in phone, but most of Benin languages. And most of Benin languages are, let me say, somehow similar to most of African languages. So let's say it's a keyboard for African languages. So this is already a step forward. Why? Because even if we were to launch the system, the platform we are actually working on, and we hope to launch it by the end of 2020, there will be that problem actually, because people will have the translation system, but will not be able to write. So how are you going to translate if you cannot even have a keyboard to write in the language? So that's the first step. So the keyboard is the first step. Now we are working on building a dictionary for it, and then at the same time working on improving the translation model, and then releasing it soon by December 2020 or early 2021.
Oh, this absolutely sounds fascinating, and I cannot wait to find out how you launch all of this. And like you said, that later on in the future you are expanding, and you're working with your partner for the Nigerian aspect of it, with going into that. That sounds I love it. I absolutely
thank you.
I'm fascinated, and I can't wait until I don't know, in years to come, you go deeper into the other African languages, because this is something that I think a lot of people relate to, and it's something that we all need. And and especially with this whole thing where as the world is becoming more, diverse in terms of different cultures, that's that whole marriage of different countries coming together as one. So that is something that is needed also in the future. So I can't wait to see what you guys do with all of this stuff. So just moving along, clearly you are on a start to success. And speaking of success,
let me say amen to that.
Yeah, you're on the start to success. I can see this being really successful. And just speaking of success and achievements, you have a string of them. But there's one which I found really fascinating, where of your time when you were in Russia, you spoke about how you're involved in these hackathons. So one of your notable achievements is the win at the National Russian Hackathon and a Guinness Record certificate. I'd love to hear more about this, please.
Okay. I cannot find the word, but it's something that I used to describe always with emotions, because it was it was not expected actually. So back then, the story was, we went to a hackathon on the town level, on Kazan, because I studied in Kazan, and we went there. I was with Chris. We're always together, the two blacks, always whenever we go.
Okay.
So we went there, and so we took part into the hackathon on the city. It was city level. So we were representing the Republic. So what happened was, we went there, we had our earphones and everything, and we took our task, and we started working. So we stayed there, worked for, 3 days. So after 3 days, there was a kind of deliberation that we had to present the project and everything we've done, and the jury will assess it and appreciate and then give the results. So it turned out that after the 3 days, after everything, we were the best. We were the first ones. But I'm sorry to say this here, but we were not led to the next stage, the regional stage, because we were foreigners. They came clearly to us and they told, you guys, you amazed us. When you guys came, we didn't really expect something from you, but we were positive. But unfortunately, we cannot let you go ahead. And they even made a joke like, do you have Russian girlfriends? Like, you plan to marry them? And we're like, okay, hell no, we don't. So that National Russian Hackathon was actually a bigger stage of that hackathon we were blocked at, like where they said you guys couldn't go further anymore. So we came, and of course it was big because there were about, 6,000 or 7,000 or something like that people, and the president of the republics were there, and many people were there, like many international companies, software companies of Russia, like everybody was there. So the thing was big. And of course, we're the only two blacks again. So we went there. First of all, we were somehow, because we thought it was going to be the same case like it was on the previous stage of the competition. But then they instead came to our institute, and funny enough, our institute just quickly looked for us. And then they were looking for 10 people, but we were the first two ones that were contacted. And then after they looked for 8 other people. So they split the teams into two teams of 5 members. The first day we went there, the 2 teams, but the next day, the other team and the third day, they didn't come. So we were the only one representing the university and the republic itself on the national stage. And after that, we stayed there 3 days. We worked day and night. And there was always that feeling of people tearing down at us. Like, they were like, what are those people doing here? Or something like that. Maybe like they don't belong. I don't know, something like that. It was 2 black people and in a very big crowd, because the hall, there were many halls, but the hall where we stayed was huge, was big. Like, it was even bigger than a stadium of football, and black everywhere, computers everywhere. We were the only ones. So it was very, very stressful and everything. But then after I worked, so first of all, there was the pre-selection, the pre-final. And then among, I think, 100 or 70, something like that, they selected only 5. And we were among those 5s. And then after then, we had just one day to present now to the business partners. And yeah, we didn't sleep. Our eyes were just red like. So after we did our best, and yeah, it was a deliberation. So I remember we were sleeping because we hadn't slept all the 3 days and we barely ate. So I was sleeping, Chris was sleeping, and then they came to a category because I think there were 26 tracks, and we were, I think, on the track 26. And then when they came there, they just spoke out, our name. I was like, wow, what happened? And then I just jumped. And then I remember, like, Chris, it seems that we won. He was like, what? Really? Aren't we dreaming? And then we went there, and then it was something real. So what we did there was designing a recommendation system that would reduce the traffic jams and the rates of accidents on public roads, and at the same time that will regulate the time of work. Sometimes on public roads, people are the roads are, let me say, not such in a good state. So companies are employed to repair the road. But if it's not well managed, sometimes it ends up creating more traffic jams, and more traffic jams means higher risk of having accident or something. So we also work on something like that, so that companies will know when the roads, the traffic is not damaged there, so that they could deploy a machine and everything to they work effectively and something like that. So yeah, that was basically the experience, and it was really, really nice experience.
Wow, what a story. Congratulations though on the win and overcoming all of the odds that were against you. It's a fantastic story, and I can understand why you are emotional when you speak about it. And just to touch on what you said about, you spoke on some of the issues about being the only 2 Black people in this event, and some of the challenges that you had to face. It was actually a follow-up to my next question, that, having the opportunity to travel and to study in these places as an African, as a Black African, such as Russia and Germany, what are some of the challenges, you touched on those in Russia, that you face, and how do you overcome it? How do you come all of those like stereotypes or prejudices against you? What do you do?
Okay, thank you for the question. So I won't be pretty much speaking about Germany because I've been here only for like 1 month. So about Russia, I think one challenge is just the one I spoke out, I stated, and it was mainly the same things, because even it was mainly the same thing. So it was kind of when we used to, I used with Chris, of course, we used to get into places where people are not used to see Black people. And it was funny enough, but even after that hackathon we won, there was money for it. There was a prize, but we didn't get easily what we deserved. So instead, they paid, like, for instance, everybody, but we had to push it before they tell us, okay, you guys, you are not Russians, so we cannot transfer a fund directly to you, so you have to, maybe by your team members or somehow, but take by a ration. And it was pretty much recurrent, because even at school, we were always like taking the lead. So either maybe this semester I'm the best of the promotion, the next semester is Chris, something like that. So we were discussing it, disputing it like that. So, and after every semester, the best student used to have something, a compensation for his work and everything. But it was still the same problem. We couldn't have directly what we deserved, because we are foreigners. So I wouldn't say I could have said like kind of racism about, but I understood it was the way the things were written, the laws and everything. And I'll be thankful because we've met people that really helped us. The institute we were, they were very friendly because we were not just studying and being excellent. We were also actually respectful. We were singing. I was playing football. I was dancing. So I was having extracurricular activities that was making me like really outstand from the crowd. So seeing that, people really, 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 really helped. So instead of us, for instance, being looking for a student that will help us to get that money. Yeah, the headmaster, the dean, was like, we were pretty much close. Like we used to chat like friends and everything. And all the administration people were friendly to us, so they really helped us find the solutions and everything. So that were basically the challenges, or let me say the type of challenges I faced when I was studying Russian. And that's how I overcome it, by not giving up, by always taking every single challenge to become a better version of myself. And when you are working, but getting better, even if things are against you at some stage, you're like, okay, let it go. So he deserves it, something like that. And then things maybe start working out. Nature also works for you and everything. And things improve. So basically, that's it.
That's great. And, it's really great that you have the support of the Institute and you met some really nice people. And you are right that sometimes it's the laws, it's not necessarily, I think, no matter where you are as an international student, face so many hurdles. I know this as well.
Yes.
I know this as well. The hurdles are all the same, and they sometimes feel very frustrating because you think, I'm really good at what I do, but there's so many things that the law is just like, nope, no, not you. So it's a common trend, but at least you managed to navigate, and you won. You rose above all of these barriers, and it's pretty fantastic and inspiring. And just as a little closing off of this segment, I just wanted to ask you, if somebody who's listening and is listening to your story and everything that you do, what advice would you give them generally about coming into this world of STEM, but also just more specifically about what you do?
I would say this field, the field of STEM, and especially the field like AI, data science and everything, is for discoveries, is a field where you should be in having passion for. It's not something that you just come into because maybe people earn money from it. Because I know people actually who are doing this or who are studying in this field, and they find it quite difficult because the main reason they are in is because the parent told them, so after you graduate, you're going to have a good job and then you're going to earn a lot of money and everything. So money is a motivation. But I think it shouldn't be. Like, you have to like it. You have to be passionate about, because there are thousands of talents out there. So somehow you have to find your own way to outstand, to be, to be, let me say, successful or excellent somehow. And if money is the reason why you're doing it, I think you will get discouraged pretty early soon. The other thing is to be persistent, to be committed, and never give up. Because I would say the FFR we are working on, Chris and I, is something we fully deployed. Okay, if not, if I put apart the Masakani community that helped us to get this on ground and started. But the other side is only us. Like, we didn't get support actually from the university. We didn't get support from maybe even my government or people, something. No, we barely handle everything by ourselves. So this lack of support could have made us given up, could have made us say like, it's not worth it actually, because we are not getting support and nothing. But it's something we have passion for and wanted to do something for Africa, for our languages. This is why this is, I think, one of the one of the reasons why people maybe are quite interested in what we are doing and kind of sharing the vibes with us. So first of all, passion, then commitment, then perseverance, and what else can I do? So after, if you believe in God and something like that, always have someone or something you believe in that will help you to not cross some lines when everything is going wrong and everything, and to have the faith, the confidence that what you are working with is for the good, and ups and downs come, but it's not forever, and then things are going to get better, something like that.
That's some really solid advice, and I think you're right about believing in a higher power, be it God, be whatever you believe in. So you just need that level of belief, and it's been so lovely just hearing about your story, and I hope somebody's inspired and learned something. Not only about your journey, but also most importantly about what you're working on. I wish you all of the best, and I can't wait to hear more about the success. I'm saying success because I know it's going to be a success of what you are going to do, and also with the help of the many people who you have in your corner. It was lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, it was the same here, and the pleasure was shared. I would like especially to thank you, Anne, or maybe Anne with the E, like they used to say, for this pretty much good podcast and this effort, this thing you are doing to promote our efforts, people like me out there, to make them look like human, because sometimes when they look at us, they're like, okay, maybe those people, they don't have personal life or something like that, like they are just computer, but actually it helps people actually to calm down and to listen to our stories and to get somehow much more motivated. So I would say the pleasure is also for me, and thank you very much for this. I'm very pleased, and I hope I get people motivated, or I help someone to be more fixed about his dreams and goals in life.
Yeah, definitely. And if somebody is, we're going to put your contacts so that they can reach out to you if they want to hear more. And thank you so much for those kind words. Your stories are the exact reason why I do what I do, and I love sharing people's stories, and for them to know, like you said, the man behind the computer or the man behind the code. It's really, really great, and we just learned that today. So thank you, and also to everybody else who tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Root of the Science with your girl and with an E. Until next time, goodbye.